Welcome back to Mindful Minecraft. I'm Andrew, and this is our All the Mods 10 survival series. We kicked this journey off with Create, automating the basics like wood, food, and some early game power. But last episode, we crafted a jetpack and an Agglomeratio pickaxe, so we're definitely moving in the right direction. Today, however, we are at a crossroads, a technological crisis, if you will. We're going to need a reliable source of resource generation. And to get there, we've got to commit to a mod that can scale with us. That lack of direction you sometimes feel when transitioning out of early game in modded Minecraft, yeah, we're right there. So in this episode, we're setting clear, short-term goals, the kind that pave the way towards long-term progression. And for that, mystical agriculture is our best friend. Thematically speaking, we need a renewable way to get all different types of resources. But that would imply that we need to tear our world apart to search for those materials. That's not really our style, though. Mystical agriculture, on the other hand, is. Now, I've gone ahead and taken the liberty of mapping out 13 chunks. Now, this is important because this method we're using right here, we're using Harvester Pylons, and they have a total 9x9 working area. So this is the max size that one of these Harvester Pylons can actually work. You can actually do an entire chunk, but you'd have to like carefully place 3 of these Harvester Pylons. But just for, organization's sake, what we've done here is we've centered a 9x9 square in the middle of these chunks. So if we were to go ahead and fly up, you can see we've got 13 chunks here. Each of these plots has a total of 80 plantable spots. So that's a total of 1,040 plantable spots in all 13 of these with this method. But there's something important to note here. Now, we want to make an infusion crystal, and these things have 2 versions. You've got the regular one with 500 uses, or you have the master infusion crystal, which has unlimited uses. This is what we're going for today. Now, this is going to require 4 Supremium Essence for this craft, and then another 2 Supremium Essence for this craft. That's 6 total. Now, if we were to do the math on that, that's 1,536 Inferium Essence. We need that, right? We need that quickly. We could technically make one of those master infusion crystals with the Inferium Essence that I already have just for mining, but this goes beyond that. All right, so we're back here at the base, and I want to go over a couple items with you. So you'll see here, I've got a ton of stuff in my JEI window. Now, we'll go over this stuff here later, but right here, this is everything we're going to need to get started with what we're doing today. You can see we've got our Inferium Essence up here, and then we have both of our infusion recipes. And I'd like to go ahead and make one of these. All of our Inferium Essences over at the farm. So let's go ahead and let's open up Mystical Agriculture. I'm going to go ahead and take like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stacks of these just because. And then what else should we grab? We're going to need some diamonds. And then we're actually going to need to make a special seed. You saw that I had already planted these seeds. Now, you can find Inferium Essence from mobs or mining. Mining is more efficient in the beginning, and that'll just let you make these seeds much quicker. But once again, all of our Inferium is over at our farm, so we need to actually just grab some seeds. We have 30,000 from our little operation outside. How much wheat do we have? 10k, not bad. And then you might have noticed we actually had a different kind of farmland. We had fertilized farmland. And this is 3 times faster than just vanilla. So this is just a good way to start and start compounding all the resources that you need to then upgrade into these super fast mystical agriculture setups. So I've made a ton of this stuff, but it's 3 red dye, 2 gold nuggets, 1 wheat seed, and 3 bone meal for every 4. So I just made an extra stack here. Go ahead and put that in our bag. And then what else should we bring with us? Oh, yes. We need Harvester Pylons. Now, these are 3 quartz slabs, 2 iron bars, 3 polished blackstone, and 1 hay bale. Now, I have one of these set up already, right? So I'm just going to make another 3 of these. And then we're going to need a tool for that, but I'll go over that in just a minute. You're going to want some compacting drawers, a storage controller, or whatever your way you want to do your storage is. This is just how I'm going to do it because I have a little integrated dynamic setup. I just made a little integrated dynamic setup with some different priority chests on the side. That way we have access to everything we need. We've got channel 1, which is our chest, and then channel 2, which is our Inferium stuff. So let's go ahead and put this on all. And then let's open up our backpack. We're going to need all these seeds. We're going to need our prosperity shards. Let's go ahead and dump these in. And then let's get our diamonds. And now we've got like a decent little setup here. First, we're going to need our Inferium seeds. I'm going to go ahead and craft up a lot of these. Let's start with 256 plus the 80-ish that I already have. And then we're going to want our fertilizer. We can also go ahead and put this in here. We'll get 4 stacks of that. And then what else do we want? Oh yeah, we're going to need our drawers. And then this is what I wanted to show you. So let's go ahead and grab these hose out and then grab our linking tools and our upgrades. So if you're familiar with Silent Gear, you know that when you break the tool or you run out of durability, it doesn't fully break. The item doesn't disappear like a vanilla tool. He told me about the wooden hoe from Silent Gear and how you don't necessarily need an unbreakable tool because Silent Gear does that for us. Now, all you have to do to make these is literally just make a wooden hoe and then put it in your crafting window and it'll convert. So I've gone ahead and I've plotted all these out, and you'll see here, see these little dots on the farmland? And there's no dots on this farmland. That is our fertilizer. So what we'll do to start is we'll go ahead and we'll put our harvester pylons down. Let's go with these 4 plots right here. Okay, and then let's open this up so you can see how this works. So it's requiring an inventory above the pylon, and then it's only set to 3x3. So it'll only work in this little 3x3 square right here at the moment. What we can do is bump this up to 9x9, and it'll do our entire plot. Then we just put our little wooden hoe in there. We pop our compacting drawer on top, and then we'll do the same over here. Let me just put these drawers down really quick, and then we'll pop these hoes in, and then we'll put them to 9x9. So now these are all ready to go. We just need to link these to our storage controller over there. And then it'd probably be smart to hit these with 1 copper upgrade each. Just because. Now, what we can do is take our fertilizer and we can start fertilizing. These 4 farms with 80 plots should be enough within 10 minutes fertilized to get us our Inferium Essence that we're going to need for our little master infusion crystal. And once we get that, we're going to jump right into the deep end. All right, so that's 3. We're going to need this one here. It's our last one. I wish there was a faster way to do this, but it's kind of nice. You just got to run around and fertilize your soil. All right, so we're left with 16. Nice. So we'll have enough seeds here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna plant all these, and I'll be right back with you. All right, so we've got all of our seeds down, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and just put a stack of Inferium in every single one of these, and then I'm going to lock them, and that way we don't have any mix-ups. When lock you, lock you, lock you, and lock you. Now we should be ready, and these 4 plots here should technically get us enough Inferium to make our master infusion crystal here in about 10 minutes. I'm hoping my math is right. It's probably not, but what can you do? So while we wait for this, we actually need to go over some other stuff. So we're actually going to go into the Mystical Agriculture quest guide here. Am I silly? I am. There it is. So you'll notice a few things here. We've got tiers. We have a lot to go through. So every upgrade in tier, you start to unlock new items. So if we wanted diamond seeds, we need supremium, because in order to make the diamond seeds, you need supremium essence. And now you see this infusion crafting stuff here. So we need to go make 1 infusion altar and 8 infusion pedestals. And these are going to be how we craft our seeds. There's ways to automate these with modular routers. A chosen architect did a really good video on how to set this up. I just can't be bothered to play with modular routers sometimes, and this isn't something that I really need automated, right? I think I can handle putting things where they go on these pedestals by hand, especially in the beginning like this. I'm just trying to show you how to start your mystical agriculture setup. And this is a great way to get enough Inferium that you're not going to really be bogged down. Now, today, I just want to automate the farming of certain resources. So we need to make a bunch of seeds with these infusion altars and infusion pedestals. And we're going to need to make this stuff here, all these agglomeratios. Today, I want to fully complete all of the tier 1 seeds and then work towards some of our other seeds that we're going to need, because we're going to jump into applied energistics soon. And that means we're going to need silicone. That means we're going to need Certus quartz. We're going to need fluix. We're going to need sky steel or sky stone. Not quite sure if sky steel's the same thing. Sky stone right here. It's tier 3. We're going to need a ton of quartz. It'd be good to get all of our seeds that we're going to need for the next episodes and get them set up. But that's going to require us to make this infusion crystal and make this master infusion crystal, because we really need this if we really want to get any of these done. And you'll see here towards the end, we can actually grow our allthemodium, unobtainium, vibranium, but they require certain things to grow. If we click on allthemodium here, I think it should show us, yeah, you'll have to have some magical soil to grow this. Seed reprocessing, this might work. I'd like to see if this works just because, but we're not focused on that quite yet. Just showing you that towards the end, this is what we're going to be using to get a lot of this stuff. So let's take a peek, see where we're sitting. We're at 3.4 thousand, and we haven't really, I don't think I've loaded these chunks yet, but this one's already got about another stack. Same here, same here. So we're just going to let this go. I'm going to load the chunks, those 4 there, and we're going to go back to our warehouse. Another thing, I did kind of clear this space out here. I've been growing my netherwort here because we're going to need to make a bunch of potions. And then I also finally upgraded all my armor. I need gems. I made all the modium tool, and that's about as far as I've gone personally for my stuff. I did make some trader librarians. I got endless quiver. This is our mending one, and we got sharpness 5. And then this one has chainsaw and berserker's fury. If you don't know what chainsaw is actually super cool. Let's go over here. Bye, buddy. If you just hit the bottom block of the tree, it'll break the whole tree. It's super nice. Not that we need wood, given we have that tree farm over there, but I just like having the capability to just go pick a tree and cut it down. And then I did upgrade it to the Agglomeratio jetpack. And to make this, you just need an emerald tier. Last episode, we got up to platinum, which is our tier 4. And this Agglomeratio, when we turn the hover on, you can see we just float. Huge thank you to Deets Nuts from the All the Mods subreddit for tipping me off to the pylon flying card setup. This is going straight into our next video. I wanted to get us started with just the Harvester Pylons, but this Infusion Pylon is pretty sweet. So it's the same as the other recipe, but instead of a hay bale, we're using a block of emerald. And then we need to craft a potion filter, which is just 2 cyan terracotta, 1 green dye, some glass, and an emerald. And then we need to make 3 potions of slow falling, 3 potions of levitation, and then 3 potions of flying. And this gives us creative flight. And then we actually put this into our pylon, the infusion pylon here. And you can see there, applies potion effects from an activated potion filter at any distance. So we'll have creative flight all over the world, all over every dimension. It doesn't matter. We won't need a jetpack or power or our jetpack anymore. We just need to go to the end, fight the end dragon, and go find ourselves some chorus fruit, and that'll fix that. But I think that's what I want to do next episode. Now, we need to craft the infusion altar and 8 of the infusion pedestals. So we're going to need 9 red wool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we can craft our 1 infusion altar and our 8 infusion pedestals. And this does require redstone power. So what I like to do is just put a block of redstone directly under the infusion altar, and that usually solves my issue. And then the next thing, we can't make seeds without our agglomeratios, the ones we're trying to do right here first. And we can't do it without a prosperity seed base. Now, prosperity shards, you can find these all over. I think I want to take us down here while we wait, because I know there's some right here. So deep slate prosperity ore, it requires iron tier mining, but it's pretty prevalent, and we'll mine right into some more. Yep, there's some more there. It's all over the place. I love this pickaxe. You see that? That's so cool. Hey, get out of here. Okay, I think that just shows you enough here. We just got 2 stacks of this stuff. Let's slash home and let's make some of these prosperity seed bases. So I'm just gonna make a stack of these because I have a ton of this already. And these seed bases are how we're gonna get started once we set up our infusion pedestal. So I think we should go back. What if we built it out here and then we can put like a little base thing around it. So we'll go ahead and place our redstone and the infusion altar right above that. And you'll see it makes like a little outline, like little ghost structures for you to place your pedestals on. So you can go ahead and pop those on. Now this is ready. As soon as we put our seed base in the center here, and all of these are filled with the essence and material that they need, this will just automatically start crafting and infusing into the seed of that type. Honestly, let's just make the air agglomeratio first. We just need 4, and then we'll make the earth agglomeratio. We need short grass. Let's grab some shears and let's go get some short grass. That should be plenty. Where'd you go? Earth agglomeratio. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're gonna need water agglomeratio. 1, Go fill this up. This is going to be annoying. It'll be every time. And then one more. Okay, so we've got air, earth, water. Now we need fire, which would be buckets of lava. I actually have a drawer full of buckets of lava. Where is it? Yeah, it's this one. We'll just do this. Something like that would have been way easier. Okay, so we've got earth, we've got air, earth, water, fire, and then nature agglomeratio. And we're going to need pumpkins for that. I got so sidetracked trying to find pumpkins. Now, I have an idea. I'm just going to grab this nature's compass. We got one 2,048 meters this way. This waystone is close. Okay, okay. Pumpkins. You see? Pumpkins. See how easy that was? See how easy that was? I don't need to go on crazy adventures to find what I'm not looking for. Instead, I could just use the tools that I have. You know. So we've got 22 carved pumpkins. We don't need those guys. But these leaves, that's kind of cool. I like that. Given we got everything up to the nature, let's make 4 of those. Pop those in our backpack. And then I want to make these dye agglomeratios. We need this, okay? We're gonna have to make a couple because we need dye for a ton of stuff. For those, we'll need lime dye. Oh, what that? Get as many of those as I can. Try and make this. 1, 2. Okay, wait. We need cyan, which is blue and green. We can make green dye. That's no problem. What's this? Horseweed? How many of these can we make? 1. I ran out of my horseweed. Certainly green dye. Oh, that's right. You need to smelt the cactus. I totally forgot about that. That's how you do green dye. Before we goof this, let's check, see if we can bulk smelt it. We can, and it will make green dye. We can also crush it, I think. But we need this dye agglomeratio because we need dye for a ton of later game stuff. And this essence will make any color. And it's super, super nice. You don't have to go make a bunch. You just set crafting recipes using your auto crafting, whatever you're choosing to use, and it'll take care of you. Okay, now we need to make cyan. Where did you go? We just need some blue dye. Okay, here we go. 4. Boom. We did it. It's done. It's over. We never have to worry about dye again. How about that? Put that in our backpack. It's our dye, and then the nether agglomeratio. I think I've already made 3 of these, so I'm just gonna make 1. Let's check. Yes, I do have 3 of this. Okay, so now we've got all of those agglomeratios. The only thing we're missing is honey, prismarine, and end. We make this, we can. We'll do that. We don't have that stuff. We just have the end stone from the mining dimension. Could we do this? Oh, certainly not. Come on. One more? No. Okay, we're gonna have to get some more of that. If we take a peek in our backpack, we've got some drawers that we're gonna use to store all of our essences that are gonna come off of these. And then we've got our prosperity seed bases and our agglomeratios. Now, if we peek in our quest book here, we still need to make ice seeds, dirt seeds, wood seeds, deep slate, stone, and then those 4 seeds there. And then we've got our dye seeds, which are tier 2. They're going to require prudentium. So before we can even move on to this, we need to make that infusion crystal, and we need to start pumping these out. So I'm going to go ahead and claim our quest rewards here. We got, what is that? Some glass bottles and some mystic fertilizer and 2 prosperity seeds. Oh, nice. So let's go back and let's see what we're looking at in terms of Inferium. Are we looking? We're at 4,000. We're at 4,000. I think that's enough to craft this master infusion crystal. So you'll notice here, we've got Inferium blocks, and this is by design. I believe we'll be able to craft our master infusion crystal with 1 infusion crystal because the recipe extends to blocks. So you can actually use blocks in this. I don't know why it shows like this only, but maybe we should find out. We should test this. Let's go ahead and let's make 1 infusion crystal. This is 4 Inferium Essence, 4 prosperity shards, and 1 diamond. Go ahead and clear our grid, and you'll see we now have this infusion crystal. So we can't do that. They changed this. So it used to be that you could put your blocks in here and it would convert them into blocks here. That might also just be, yeah, okay. So you can only do that using these Inferium blocks with the master infusion crystal. This is going to take a lot. I'll speed through this. All right, so with only 3 of the infusion crystals, we were able to get 15 Supremium Essence with our 4,000 Inferium Essence. Now, we're going to turn this into this. But first, we need to make one of these. So we'll need a Prosperity Gemstone, and this is just 4 Prosperity Shards and 1 diamond. And then we'll go and we'll put that Prosperity Gemstone in with 2 Supremium Gemstones. And then we'll put this all together. And we'll have our Supremium Essence, 4 of it, 4 Prosperity Shards, and that 1 Supremium Gemstone. And now we no longer have to worry about this silly little infusion crystal breaking on us. And we can actually bulk craft using this. So now this goes straight to Prudentium. And now we've got some Prudentium blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these different essences out. For our other 4 essences, we'll make a compacting drawer setup, so that we don't have to worry about storage, and it'll compress it into blocks for us. So let's go back and let's grab 4 more compacting drawers. We'll need to craft 1 more. And then where, I'm assuming, yeah, we put our linking tool away and our configuration tool. So now we can go head back. We can set this up. So how do I want to do this so it looks neat? We could just go 1, 2, 3, 4. So in order, it's got to be like this. We'll have to go Prudentium, Tertium, Imperium, and then Supremium. Now we can go ahead and link these up and then lock them. And I forgot copper upgrades. Let's go grab those. I've never tried sleeping in the mining dimension. I think we should grab a bed. Try this out. And then grab our copper upgrades. Why not? Let's just place our bed somewhere in here. Oh, we could sleep here. Cool. Never even tried this. It didn't do anything. Nice. Cool. So let's put 1 upgrade in each of these. And then let's go in here and take a peek. So now we look in our drawers. This is channel 2. It gives us all of our different essences. Now, I like for this to be in order. I wish it would just automatically be in order, but there's not really a way to do that, I guess. I'll just go with item amount. So as we gain our Inferium Essence, we're going to need to craft all this up. We can actually just do it like this now. We can do that. We can do that. And you'll see now we've got more of the other essences. We can grab these as we need them for our recipes over there. But we're going to let this build up, and we'll eventually make this auto craft so that it automatically will create like a buffer. Once, this drawer is full, it'll move on to making these, or we could do it vice versa. So as soon as we fill up with our Supremium, it fills us up on Imperium. And then once that's full, it fills us up on Tertium and then Prudentium. And that way we've always got a good amount for seed crafting. So now that we've gone over and completed our first goal of the day, which is this Master Infusion Crystal, I think it'd be a good idea to begin crafting our seeds. And we could actually do like our first essence farm in this one. And then we could do materials in this one just for now. But that means we'll need to make new harvesters for each of these. And then we're going to need to come up with a new idea for these drawers. So these items cannot be compressed like the essences can, but they can be stored in, these frame drawers here or any other kind of drawer. It just can't be put into like a storage controller that won't work on top of these pylons. It has to be the actual drawer itself. So I've gone ahead and I made us some drawers that I think look kind of cool. I feel like they look a little magical. And each one of these will have its own little slot and its own little essence item. And we'll of course upgrade these so they can hold way more. I think base, they hold 512 each. But let's go ahead and let's let this build up and let's start crafting our seeds. So while editing, this has already gotten back up to 4.32k Inferium Essence. And I just let this sit while I was waiting. And now we can actually go and make a good amount of these. Go ahead and do as many as we can. I mean, this Inferium Essence will continue coming. We can let's just do 5 of each. Do something like that. And then we'll do 4 like that. And now we should have like a good little starting base of, you know, Prudentium, Tertium, etc. I do think it would be wise of us to just make more of these. I think that's good. That way we've got more Tertium, because we're going to be crafting a couple tier 3, I believe, seeds, and that requires Tertium. Yeah, we'll need this for our Certus quartz, and actually most of the metals, even obsidian, skystone, quartz, iron and copper, redstone, and glowstone are going to be huge. But I think that's what we want to start with after we knock these out. I think we should do these as well. Might as well. So I've gone ahead and collected a bunch of resources here. I claimed some quest rewards and we actually got cyanite seeds. We got some glowstone seeds and we got amethyst seeds. So that's pretty cool. And then I kind of just did the math and organized this so that we can just make our seeds really quick. So let's start by taking our prosperity seed base, and then what should we start with? Let's just start with the air and inferium. So remember how we put that redstone block under here? So this just like makes this active. If we were to put our seed base here, and then we were to put our essence in here, and keep in mind, you don't really have to make a pattern or anything. You just have to put it all in there. You could put it in any way you want to. And as you can see here, we've got our air seeds. So let's go ahead. Let's pop our little seed in there. We're going to put our new seed in here, and we're going to repeat this process. I will be back with you when we're done mixing all our seeds up. And then these are our last Inferium based tier 1 seeds. Got our ice seeds. Now we've got all this going on up here. Let's move on to our higher tier seeds. So we've got that nature, agglomeratio, the nether, the dye, and the prismarine. Nature, this is nether. And then once we get all of these seeds planted, I made 8 harvester pylons and some O's for those, because we've got 8 plots remaining right here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to plant all this. And we got to organize it kind of. Oh, these are those dye seeds. These are the best. I'm interested to see what we can make with these prismarine seeds. I didn't even check. I want to make them. Okay, so we've got a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but we've got a decent amount of stuff here. And what I'm going to do, actually, is go into the Mystical Agriculture quest book. We're supposed to make this farmland, but I don't really want to do that quite yet, and we don't really need to. But we're going to claim rewards. Hey, it's not letting us. Oh no, we need to have them in our inventory, don't we? Here we go. No, it lied. It's supposed to give us a seed bag. Okay, screw it. We're doing it. So, where's my... There it is. Okay, let's go ahead and let's go take a chunk of dirt out of the ground here. Okay, that should be enough for each farmland unlock. We're gonna make all this farmland, and then we're gonna do 1 inferium. We'll do 1 prudentium. We'll do 1 tertium. We'll do 1 imperium, and then we'll do 1 supremium. That's all 5 tiers, but I believe we might actually get a 6th tier here. Oh, we need to make the Insanium. Oh, we can totally do that. Let's make some Insanium real quick. Make 2. And then where did our farmland go? There we go. So we have one of each tier farmland. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dump all this stuff in here. Okay, now we can open the quest book and we might get some pretty good seeds here. We got saltpeter, copper alloy, pig seeds, emerald seeds, prosperity seed base, niotic crystal. I think that's good. Earth seeds, energized steel seeds, some more wood seeds. Got a tertium ingot. We got a couple things here. Oh, hold on. And then we got more from the seeds that we just got from that. We got iridium, tin, coal. Okay. And we're going to keep doing this. This is awesome. There's squid and steel leaf. Every time we do this, we're going to get a few more. Okay. Go ahead and dump all this junk in here. Where's my tools? Need you back. Okay. So let's peep the seeds. We got 2 earth, 2 wood, 1 air, 1 water, 1 fire, stone, dirt, ice, deep slate, nature, dye, nether, coal, amethyst, pig seeds. I think this is just gonna make us, wait a minute. Yeah, pig essence. We can just make pork chops with this. There could be something else we could do with the pig. Oh, we make a spawner. Okay, interesting. We also got a squid one too. Does this make solely ink? Oh, we can make Heart of the Seas with this. This is actually crazy. And we got our Prismarine essence as well. What else can we make with that? We can make the Nautilus shells. We just need fish essence. This is really good. We're going to need this for some apotheosis spawners. But I think this kind of demonstrates exactly how powerful that this can get, because we just kind of snowballed into niotic crystals. Does that make any sense at all? We just snowballed. What tier is niotic even? We just skipped the first 4 tiers of power to get these niotic ones. As you can see, this is a little absurd. So I came up with a new solution here. I actually made some ender chests, and these ender chests are just coated green, green, green on top. I just used 3 green dye, and then I planted all of our seeds, and I made a ton of nether quartz, and I made a ton of diamond, and then I made some gold seeds. Next up on my list will be redstone, because we need a lot of quartz, redstone, iron, copper, diamond, gold, silicone, etc. We need a ton of stuff to get started with applied energistics, and that's kind of where this episode has led us. We really need to turn all of these essences into an auto-crafted system, and when we can start auto-crafting with all of these, then no matter what we try to make, we'll always have the resources for those items. So my main goal right now is to fill this bed here with redstone and then probably Certus quartz. And once we fill that with Certus quartz and redstone, we'll be able to actually get started with some kind of power or something. We really need to upgrade our power. So I'm going to start crafting up all of these essences. But it's working, and that's all that matters right now. I'm currently doing a full stack of redstone seeds. So before we move on to the last little bit of our video today, I want to show you a couple things. So I let this farm go overnight, and I did end up making as many seeds as I possibly could. And then I claimed a ton of quest rewards, and we did get a ton of different seeds. I want to fill this. I don't like that. There we go. And each one of these has a corresponding drawer over here, and they're all just pumping away, stacking up. But we used a pretty simple method to get our essence from the farm to the drawers using ender chests. And with the ender chests, you actually just dye the top in a sequence and it'll match. Over here for our Inferium, I have it all blue, and for our essences, I have it all green. But over here is where this changes. So you'll notice we have integrated dynamics logic cables, item interfaces, and item exporters. So I set up a little demonstration in the basement of this building to show you how this works. I made a little cobblestone generator using the extractors from Zycraft, and you'll notice on the top of each one they have the item interfaces. The item interface is reading the extractor as an inventory, and then these logic cables are creating a network in a sense. So each of these is its own inventory on this one little network, and then connected to an ender chest we have an item exporter, and in the item exporter we have a blank variable card in the export all items slot. And what that's doing is every time this inventory ticks and it sends cobblestone up, it ends up in this chest here. And since it's an ender chest, it can transfer these items anywhere. It's just a symmetrical storage solution. So you'll see it's arriving here, and just like we put the item interfaces on the extractors, this time we're putting them on the output ender chest. And since we're inputting into this storage controller, that's where we put our other item exporter. And you'll see here in our storage drawer, this is where the cobblestone is ending up. Even though this is not touching literally anything, it's just linked to this storage controller, which is getting fed items from this ender chest to that ender chest. Integrated Dynamics early game is pretty good because it's cheap. You can make this stuff by just growing trees and making mineral resin. It's not expensive at all. The most expensive piece of this is the item exporter itself. And you can see that's just one item interface and one output variable transformer. And we went over how to make all this stuff in episode 2. But I hope this gives a good understanding of how we're actually sending our items from each pylon, which we're pretending these extractors are those pylons, to our storage controller setup with our drawers filled with essence. And now that we know how we're getting all of our items here, I want to go over one more thing. So at the base of every single one of these farms, I have set up a 9x9x6 Supremium growth accelerator. So you make these going up in tier. We made Supremium growth accelerators, and you get 3 of these per craft, and they just cost a lot of diamonds and a lot of Supremium essence. I did an entire 9x9x6 all the way across our farms here. Letting this sit overnight, we farmed a ton of Inferium Essence, and this is our leftovers after we've made every single one of these growth accelerators. Like I was saying, it's just expensive because you have to make these gemstones, and that just requires a lot of diamonds. So letting it sit was the right choice because now everything is kind of compounding and it's growing much faster. And we're ready to get into the next portion of our video, the last little bit, where I'm going to show you why we chose Applied Energistics materials, why we made this go fast, and why we've organized our storage in a way that makes this accessible to systems like this. Because we're going to need to build auto crafters using Applied Energistics, and that's going to require a ton of Certus quartz, a ton of fluix, a ton of charged Certus quartz, tons of skystone, tons of diamonds, tons of gold, tons of glowstone, tons of redstone, maybe even some amethyst. Oh, and a ton of silicone. So we have everything ready. Now, jumping into Applied Energistics in the beginning is pretty complicated because you need to kind of have some systems thinking involved. Now, since we do have all the resources we need, we're actually going to have to go over one specific resource because you won't be able to make the seed without first crafting it. And in order to make that seed, we need a special machine and some power. So we're back here in our power room, and you'll see here I have a ton of charged Certus quartz. But I had to charge that Certus quartz by using a charger from Applied Energistics. This is the first item that you will be making in order to progress with the mod. So let's go ahead and open our backpack up here. Let me see if I have some regular Certus quartz crystal, and we have a meteorite compass here. To make this, you just put a regular compass in the charger, but let's go over how to craft the charger first. You need 5 iron ingots and 2 copper ingots, and you could just place it down and power it, and it will begin to work. So what I've done here is kind of the same little setup like we did with the extractors and the pylons, but moving into the charger. So let's go ahead. Let's pop our Certus quartz into this drawer. It's going to start charging one by one, and it'll end up in this drawer here. Now, we need this charged Certus quartz in order to make fluix. And I've already done this a ton, so I've gone ahead and I already got my seeds made. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to make that fluix crystal so that you can get your seeds going and ready for next episode. So as this charges, I've already got a ton here, so I'm going to grab a stack of this. We're going to head back to the Mystical Agriculture base. Now, the reason why we need charged Certus quartz crystal is because to make fluix, we have to do this cool little interaction. And what else? You'll need charged Certus quartz, regular redstone, and then you'll need nether quartz. And then you need some just standing water. If you have a magnet, make sure to turn it off and just go ahead and toss your charged Certus quartz, your redstone, and your quartz into the water. It'll all transform into this fluix crystal. Then we've got a ton of this. Let's go ahead and compress this really quick. We just need 4 times 1 fluix blocks. We're going to get 8. That'll give us enough for 2 seeds. And then we're going to need 8 Inferium Essence. And then we'll need some seed base, which we already have over here. So what I've been doing is putting the essence in the hopper and then putting the items in the other 4 hoppers. And then it'll do this process automatically because we just put seeds in this one. And then I put a puller upgrade on this drawer to just pull our seeds out. Now we can go plant these, and this will get you as much fluix dust and fluix crystal as you could possibly ever need. And we've gone over a ton this episode. I don't think it'd be smart if we were to just keep going because this is already a lot of information. And at this point, everyone's going to need time to get their materials built up before we actually go ahead and start crafting with all of these. So next episode, we're going to be deep diving into Applied Energistics and auto crafting using Applied Energistics, specifically with our Mystical Agriculture system. We're going to basically want everything we can possibly make with all of the essence we have in patterns in requesters, so we always have the resources we need. Once we get started with Applied Energistics, I do have uranium. Where's uranium? I have got uranium essence in here, and we also have cyanite. We're going to be able to make a much better power source than the one we have. And we might have to come up with a cool carbon offset for that one. So the power requirements for Applied Energistics 2 are fairly high. So that's the only reason why I think we need to actually upgrade our power in order to keep up with our auto crafting. And once we get our auto crafting set up, you see this entire quest book here, we have a lot of stuff to do. And if we really want to get into making this star, we're going to need to automate a lot of stuff. And automation requires auto crafting. So I hope I've gone over enough of the basics of Mystical Agriculture and the systems in which we're using to actually process these. Next episode, like I said, we're going to jump into applied energistics and a lot of auto crafting and probably a big power upgrade. So in the meantime, let your farms build up a ton of resources. Remember to have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.